Assassin's Creed. Everybody knows the tale of this game. How sweet the hidden blades are, how cool this guy is, and how many tailing missions there are. Despite everybody in existence knowing about the game, I somehow managed to avoid it for 16 years of my life. Until last year, when I was scrolling through YouTube, looking for something to watch to take my mind off of video games, and for some reason, this trailer caught my eyes. Now, if there's one thing that UBISOFT is good at, it's making trailers, because this is sweet. So sweet that I started to have danger thoughts. I started to think about buying the video game I saw on screen. I knew I could regret it. I knew it was a bad idea. Here we are. So let me just summarize this entire video. This is good. This is bad. This is extremely good. And throw this in the garbage dumpster thingy. I thought the best way to start my adventures in this series was with the classics. And since I was 10 and a holy little PG-rated boy when Assassin's Creed 1 came out for the Xbox, I wanted to play this first. But, marketing or something, am I right? So I got the next best thing. The next best game. Assassin's Creed 2. And Brotherhood. And Revelation. I just bought the one thing. According to everything I've ever looked at about these three games, these are the best the series ever gets. If I don't want to be flamed by absolutely everybody that likes this game, I should really like these games. But, they're actually pretty good and stuff. These games have been out for long enough that I don't really have to talk about the characters or anything. They're good. That's all you need to know. It is really cool to be able to grow with the character and see him mature over time. Although, that was my biggest problem with these games. It takes place over like 85 years or something. The combat in this game sucks. Most of the time, I can't even tell if I'm hitting the guy or if he's blocking my swings. The only way I know I'm doing damage is because I see blood sometimes and they die other times. In Brotherhood, the combat system is years ahead of what it was. Sure, there's still times where you can't tell if you're actually doing damage or not, but it's so much better and the combos look sweet. This game, after years of polish, years of experience, I don't know, it's pretty much the same in this game. Parkour is the biggest thing that I saw change between these three games. Now I know these are older games, so the animations aren't quite as flashy, but the amount of precision, the amount of accuracy, sure he doesn't grab the ledges or something perfectly, but I'm sure that's something they're gonna fix in the future games, right? I've said all I want to about this game. It's good, it's funny, it's old, but most of all, it proved one thing to Ubisoft and the fans of the series. It was time for change, and change it did. Bang! This is not what I meant, oh my lord, what happened? People constantly diss Assassin's Creed for having too many trailing missions. And that is because of this game. Look at this graph I just made. This is how much of the game is actually Assassin's Creed. This is how much of the game... What was I gonna say? Something about tailing missions. From the moment you gain control of your character, it's walk here,
button.
follow so-and-so,
Click button
walk
again.
here, kill that guy,
another
walk
button.
here again. But before I continue telling you what I don't like about this game, I'll tell you what I do like. The hatchet. Sweet. It's good. It's cool. Make more weapons like this, please. Now that is out of the way. The parkour is cutscenes. You don't get to play as an assassin until 4 hours into the game. The stealth is really wonky. The controls are bad for some reason. The guns suck. The gear sucks. There was like 3 outfits and the rest are recolors. The characters are actually robots except for Benjamin Franklin. He's really cool! The parkour is cutscenes. You don't get to play as an assassin. I don't even want to talk about this game.
Please let me play the game.
Whoa!
It's so boring, I don't even care.
Stab people with square.
Okay! Just let me stab people, it's so boring. This is so sad. I'm actually crying. Ugh.
Unity has basically been the butt of every Assassin's Creed related joke for the last 5 years, but honestly, get out your pitchforks. I thought it was one of the best games I've ever played.
Will? Away!
Whoa, hold on, don't burn me yet. I guess this isn't a very popular opinion. At least it wasn't 5 years ago. So I guess I better explain myself. Let's start with the characters.
They have the flavor, baby!
Arno, title card. What the heck? This guy is fun. He knows how to drink, gamble, party, beat up people, break into places, in order to get more wine so he can party and drink and gamble more. Most people said, at least in the 3 reviews that I read, that Arno becomes stale, lifeless, boring, dumb, stupid, angry, stupid, dumb. I already said these, but I don't think so. In fact, I think it's quite the opposite. As the story goes on, Arno becomes more mature. He starts taking responsibility for his actions. He goes from this to this. Don't get me wrong, there are still some parts where he seems to have zero emotion whatsoever.
I live to serve.
I think the story follows Arno perfectly as a character, and it really makes me want to see more of him.
Oh, look at that! That was so good! Why wasn't that just the main game?
From the first time you enter the Assassin's hideout to the most intense fight on top of Notre Dame, I don't know. Every part of Unity has absolutely wonderful music. You got the traditional French violins or something, and the piano. You have classical music, but it has drums on it, so it's freaking sweet. But then you also have these very sad tracks, where you're just walking around a palace feeling sad because you can't get at least to touch your peenie. That's a funny joke I've made just then. Along with all this sweet combat music and stuff, each character also gets their own little jingle, their own little motif. I think that's the right word. For example, the music for that one Underground King is very uneasy. It's kind of shaky. It doesn't really know where it stands. It's almost like that's how the character is. Here's the first scene of the game. This is before you even know who this is, but based purely off the music, you can tell exactly what kind of character she is. As she's running from you and you're chasing her, you hear this music and you're crying a little bit, but you know exactly who she is. She's gonna break some rules or something, I don't know. Fun fact, you can hear her theme interlaced with Arno's theme a little later in the story, which really shows that his life had, dang it! Which really shows how Arno's life, which shows on a story level, it shows how Arno's life has been affected by Elise's. So it's little details like this that make me really like this game. Speaking of little details, we're almost done, I promise. I really like this game. This game is full of them. Look, I'll save you a video. Let me just get them out of the way. There's smoke that settles on top of the building in your house where people are smoking all the time. There are these important characters that show up in earlier cutscenes. Your girlfriend's dad looks at you when you're kissing and he really makes that weird face. It's a painting, but hey, that's pretty sweet, I guess. Arno's scar actually stays on his face for the whole game after he gets hit. And best of all, listen to me. Listen closely. This guy actually plays music for you. The list could go on for a while. Ubisoft added so many details in this game, but it's time to move on to Pyramid Game, and Percy Jackson game, I'm not doing that again. So I'm going to put these two games together because obviously they're very similar. There were times where I was playing Origins and thinking I was playing Odyssey because it turned really green all of a sudden. And the same things for Odyssey, I thought I was playing Origins because there's a sand biome. Neither of these games are necessarily bad. I've put so many hours into these games, it's just not even funny. So let's talk about the characters. Bayek, he's interesting. He acts like a normal being, at least when compared to pretty much everybody in Odyssey.
His name's Neritos. He's not just some code name you can cross off. He's my brother. He's family.
Alright, Alexios, this is our time. Just say something normal. Breathe. We got this. Come on. We're gonna say something in a public interaction.
Family is all that matters.
Yes!
Yes, dude! I nailed that public conversation with a human being!
When you're playing the game with Bayek, you really feel like he's a real person living in a world, whereas most of the time in Odyssey, you just can't tell if they're robots or not.
Fly! No!
Both of these games have a cult system, where each person in the cult is a puzzle piece in a larger scheme. Each person in Origin's slightly smaller branch has their own backstory. They have their own personality. I know I've used that word a lot, but let's be totally honest. You start to like these characters. You start to learn about his family, learn about his job. You learn about his second cousin's wife. That's a funny joke. It's only after growing with these characters that Origins finally says, okay, now stab him. Once the cult member is finally gone, you're just sad, and you don't want to move on. Keep going, the next one's even better. Let's compare this cult system to the one in Origins. Odyssey. I meant to say Odyssey. There's so many more people. Some of them have stories. Like half of them have stories. You only care for about half of those half, and the rest of them you just wait for the cult music to start playing, and then you kill everybody until you eventually find the right guy. And then you move on to the next one. You don't know if he had a family, kids, personality, whatsoever. But who cares, because you got a sweet gun, right? Now, the only problem I had with either of the cult systems is that the quests basically just turned into busy work. This wasn't made easier by the fact that I have half the brain cells of a normal person, and trying to figure out what a heron was took me like 3.5 hours. Now I know what you're thinking. Caden, you must really hate this game. But no, think again. I really like this game. Okay. This is a terrible Assassin's Creed game. There's not even a hidden blade in the game until the DLC. You don't take fall damage, all of the armor is super flashy, and it makes you look like a god. Wait a minute! That's the problem with Odyssey! Don't call it Assassin's Creed, dum-dum! As soon as I stopped thinking about this game as part of the Assassin's Creed series, it became so much better. The game turned from trying to do stuff stealthy and messing up, to beating people up, kicking people off, flaming swords, hopping at you, Sure, Odyssey may have taken away this method of killing people, but it sure as heck brought in I really like the sandbox feel that Assassin's Creed kind of turned into, but they should just Just take that out of the title. Then you'd have Breath of the Wild for PlayStation. But slightly worse. I really want to play that game. All of this almost makes up for the terrible story and writing. But you know what really does make up for it? The ship combat, baby! I really like this. This makes me really want an Assassin's Creed game focused around pirates where I could sing sea shanties, sail the seven seas, plunder some treasure, and bruh! Hey fellas, cutout of Caden here. I hope you liked this video. I spent a long time on it. If you do, click that button and that one, subscribe.